Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
Coming to you live from Peoria, Illinois, the basement of Adam Johnson. I'm not going to give you the address.
No,
You got to get that. You got to get that
nobody's allowed
personal
to know
invite.
where I live.
You got to get that personal invite.
Yeah, which you just might if you play your cards right, kids. Wow, that was bad.
Didn't sound great.
I'm
One
kidding.
would not recommend.
Anyway, I am Adam. This is Chet, and we are back with another episode of the Has Been Sports Club. Once again, it's been another couple of weeks. Honestly, for the content that we need to be putting out right now with the pace the playoffs are going, every 2 weeks is not bad.
You know,
Kind of works out.
Like, we have been wanting to get together every week, but, life happens, and I've been busy.
I've been busy.
He's got a family. So it's one of those things. It's like we want to, but it hasn't worked out that way lately. And with the sports world, like you said, there's not a whole lot stirring. So the playoffs have kind of gone extended into their series.
Yeah, each round is like 2 weeks.
Yeah, so it actually has kind of worked out in our favor with football not being in session, baseball
being a
long
slow
season, like we've always said. But yeah, so the 2 week time period has not been drastic. I
No,
should say.
not at all. But as we're saying that, we are currently watching the last game of the second round
Semis.
of the NBA playoffs. We've got Minnesota and Denver on right now. As we speak, the fourth quarter just started, and Minnesota just scored and is now up one.
Honestly, it's been fun to watch these semis because we've had, other than one series, like they've gone 6-7 games.
Yeah.
Hasn't been a complete sweep. Hasn't been bad basketball.
No, not at all. Like I was telling you before we started recording, I was watching the Dallas OKC game last night. By the time this gets posted, probably a day or two later. The last 3 minutes of that game is the most entertaining basketball I think I've ever watched. Just the back and forth was great. Super entertaining. For those of you that watched it, it's as good as it gets.
I missed it. Not gonna lie, I
Yeah.
missed it.
That's
I
too bad.
I got my updates from Adam. He'd been texting me saying Dallas did it, and I'm pretty sure I said that in our last episode that they would do it.
I think we both. I am fairly certain we both took Dallas.
I think so too because I made fun of you for saying
Because I was
hyping up-
high on OKC
high on OKC,
earlier
and you don't
in the
choose 'em.
season, but yeah, no, I think I also took Dallas on that one.
Yeah, so getting more into this. So, yeah, that series, we both took Dallas. It's fun to see Kyrie healthy. It's fun to see Kyrie be explosive like we'd seen Kyrie be before.
It's fun to see him
Play well together with
I'm gonna
Luka,
say legitimately functioning as a teammate
So when they were
to
down,
another star.
when
that
they were
is.
down in the series against the Clippers, right?
Mhm.
Luka said, "I need to help Kyrie more."
Yeah.
And when you see both of them work their magic and just work their craft together, it's like a symphony, man. It's so cool to watch, and because you got two all-star players that
two of the two of the top 5 best offensive players in the NBA. It's incredible to watch.
So yeah, that definitely got them through their series because Luka kind of flipped that switch and
Derek Lively had himself a game yesterday. He, in the second half, I want to say he put up 20 and 14, 20 points, 14 rebounds.
Impressive.
And I think 8 of those were offensive.
impressive.
Like he had a great game, and he played Holmgren very tough, and I think that is going to be OKC's biggest. I think that's going to be their biggest offseason move. What they need to do for next season, they need a true big. They need to do what Minnesota did. You've got Holmgren, who yes is a tall body, but he's more of a Durant type, where he's not big enough to guard the post,
Mm-hmm.
but he's athletic and talented offensively and has a good jumper to where he can stretch the floor a little bit, but they need a big body down low. So I think that's what you're going to see OKC really prioritizing this offseason, because Dallas just had solid post play.
Yeah, and I guess I've never been high on Chet Holmgren.
I like him.
I mean, he does have the capabilities of being a good player. Like he did have himself a good year. He stayed healthy. That was key. But I just don't think his stature has been NBA stature.
Yeah. But then again, you can make the same argument about Durant.
Wembanyama and Durant and everything like that.
Like,
So
it's just the way. I mean, everybody, as long as you have a specific thing that you're good at, whether it be shooting, whether you're great defensively, like if you have something that you're good at, you'll find a spot.
clearly,
So, but no. So Dallas, OKC, great series.
Dallas. Excuse me. Dallas in 6 is what it ended up being.
Mm-hmm.
So good series. Good to see Dallas. I mean, when the trades in the NBA were going on, and we saw PJ Washington going from Charlotte.
Rough.
I know, going from Charlotte
In
to
that
Dallas.
last game.
And we were like, oh, like we thought that was going to be a good transition for him. We thought that he was going to succeed in that trade.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't necessarily the case.
Gafford played well, though.
Yeah.
If we're talking about trade acquisitions.
But yeah, and so I thought PJ Washington would be off of that team a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
It was just the same old that it was when he was in Charlotte. Just he could be boom or way bust.
so maybe that's just him as a player now.
Yeah. No sense of consistency,
Yep.
which is unfortunate. But
Yeah, good series though.
Yep.
And Dallas gets the winner of this game, Minnesota Denver.
It's a tight one.
I think it's going to be another good series between the two there.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be the Western Conference Championship, and then we'll just jump on over to the let's go to the Eastern side now.
Yep.
So
Boston made quick work of Cleveland. I don't think either one of us really thought
Neither one of
Cleveland
us
had
doubted
much
that.
of a fighting chance.
yeah, Boston's just got so many
So many weapons.
weapons to.
I mean, Drew Holiday could step up and be the big player.
Right.
Like anybody on that team, if Porzingis is healthy, Jaylen Brown,
Obviously Tatum,
Tatum, Derek
White.
They just have so many very,
Al
very,
Horford.
very good players. So I'm glad you bring up Al Horford, because they were talking about Al Horford.
He had a huge game.
They were talking about Al Horford on Dan Patrick show, or was it Dan Patrick or was it Coward? One of the two said that he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Do you
Wow.
think so? Because what he said was he's a 2-time collegiate champion, and it's the Basketball Hall of Fame, not the NBA Hall of Fame. It's the Basketball Hall of Fame. So college is taken into account, and he's had a very long NBA career as a mostly starter.
That's a good question.
Like what
Because he has had.
I feel like there needs to be he needs to do something besides longevity in the NBA. So if Boston goes on and wins the title, then I'd say sure, yeah, go ahead, throw him in.
That's a good one because he's never been MVP caliber. He's never. I mean,
He's always been very good.
he's been good. You're exactly right. He's been a consistent good.
But yeah, 2 college championships. So I don't know. Just a little side question. What do you guys think? Do you think that qualifies him for
Yeah, that's wild. I
getting into the Hall of Fame?
I don't think I have
I can't necessarily say I have a true
I
opinion.
don't think I have an answer on that.
I think
yet.
it could go either way, but I don't know.
Because I mean, he's been solid. He's been solid on the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
We all know he can score the basketball,
He developed a 3-point shot
Yeah.
very late in his career.
and that's
I almost
a good
forget
question.
that he was in Atlanta. That's how long this man has been in the NBA. That
Well, he came
I
out
forgot about Atlanta.
He came out of Florida in
I think it was 05.
05?
Because he was on the Joakim Noah
Yeah.
Gators team. Or was it 0?
I thought it was 07.
It might have been 07. Because I think he was the year before Derrick Rose got drafted.
My mind was in
Because
07.
Joakim Noah was the first year, and then Derrick Rose was the next year, and I think they both came out of college at the same time, Horford and Noah. Because, yeah, it would have been the same year Durant was drafted.
07.
Mm-hmm. Yep, makes sense.
I thought it was 07.
Or was Rose drafted in 09? It might have been 09. So there might have been a 2-year gap. I don't remember. Anyway.
09.
Okay. Anyway,
Or 08.
now you see my
Yep,
confusion.
no, it was 09. It was 09. He got Rookie of the Year in 09.
Anyway, so sorry. Train came off the
Anyway.
tracks a little bit.
Al Horford, he has had a good basketball career. Has it been as decorated as most basketball careers that make the Hall of Fame?
No, but very, very solid, very consistent
But he
numbers.
he makes a good point, and he makes a good case.
And say when you take into account
being a
the
good basketball
entire
player.
resume, including college, it whoa, Rudy Gobert just hit a fall away jumper. That's pretty wild. All right.
So yeah, going back to the Boston series, like Boston
just-
they have so many weapons, like,
Yeah.
and that's what I said from the get go. That's why they've been my champion for months now.
I think they come out of the East, but I don't. I genuinely think between Denver or Minnesota, either one of these teams, I truly believe are better than Boston.
Wow, because Boston's gonna have Porzingis back when they get to the
That's fine.
finals, and that's my difference maker.
Till he gets hurt.
That's
2
my
games
difference
into
maker.
the series. Anyway.
So yeah,
we
Boston
both
made-
picked Boston to
yeah.
win. We didn't really think Cleveland had much of a chance. Donovan Mitchell's probably going to be out of Cleveland next year, so I don't know. I don't know if Cleveland will be back.
That hurt them, not playing the last 2
Yeah.
games of that series.
I don't know if Cleveland will be back next year. Because it sounds like Garland could be on the move too. They might be thinking about starting over, which is wild to think. But if you lose one of your key players to your team's success from this year,
Which, how do they start over if they just basically started over?
I
mean,
I
they
feel
started
like
over
this
with
is-
Garland. They started Darius Garland, they
But-
Evan Mobley, and they bring over Donovan Mitchell. Like
yeah. I feel like they they reached too much success too quickly. If that makes sense.
I don't think they even had enough success.
I mean, I don't think, obviously, with them not going to the finals or anything, no, they haven't. But I think they overachieved what the actual expectations were.
Oh, I definitely agree with
And
that.
I think that's what brought them to bringing Donovan Mitchell over, as they saw how good the young team was and the potential they had. And then they went out and got Mitchell, and then it was just
Yeah.
one thing leads to another. But I don't their roster as it is not good enough to contend even with a star caliber player. I don't think. I think they're good enough to make the playoffs consistently and be like a Miami Heat. Maybe every once in a while go on a big run but
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think they have that guy that can.
and Donovan Mitchell's not that guy. I like Donovan Mitchell, but he's not as while he's a star player, he's
not
not like a
carry them to the
true
end.
difference
Dude.
maker. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll keep an eye on Cleveland, see what happens. Keep an eye on Donovan Mitchell.
Watch the Celtics make it to the NBA Finals
Yep, we'll see.
because they get the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, brings us to the other game, Game 7. That was a 7-game series. And ultimately it came down to the Knicks having too many injuries. They just, while they very well could have went on and won today and moved to the next round, it's honestly for the best that they didn't.
Yeah, because when your all stars are the ones that are out hurt,
Yeah.
you had a great team.
Mm-hmm.
Great team. Everybody knew their role, from DiVincenzo,
Josh Hart.
to
Hartenstein plays well. Who else? Mitchell Robinson, when he plays, is always good. But no, like Miles McBride put in some solid minutes. It's just they have a good team, but
everybody just knew their role.
yeah,
which made them better.
Like there was
And then-
just zero chance that they would even be able to come close to contending with Boston in the next round. Indiana, on the other hand, is one of the best offenses in the NBA when they're playing well. So they'll at least give them a run for their money.
Yeah,
And
like
make
you said,
somewhat of a series.
New York could have got there, didn't, but they got there without Julius Randle, which was a stretch.
They overachieved expectations.
Then Jalen
honestly.
Brunson decides to be basically the face of the New York Knicks,
I like it.
and then he goes down hurt. That just really kind of put a damper on them, and even if they would have gotten through, those two guys not being in the remainder of the playoffs just wouldn't have happened for New York.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's unfortunate for New York, but I have no doubt that they'll be back in it next year.
Oh yeah, I mean I think they're gonna have some acquisitions that could help the team. You never know.
Though I don't think Julius Randle will be there next year.
I don't know.
I think they're going to make a move for somebody bigger. And unfortunately, I have a feeling it's going to be Kevin Durant.
I don't know.
And I think that is, at this point, I genuinely believe Kevin Durant is the angel of death. He is the kiss of death to any team he goes to.
Except the Warriors, because he went and he won.
But that's different. Not every team has Steph Curry.
You said any team.
Well, that's different. You're right. I misspoke. Any team not named the Golden State Warriors. But seriously, every team he's gone to since and tried to build another super team has not worked out. And not worked out in humiliating fashion.
Yeah, it has been embarrassing to see the lack of success since.
Like all these teams will just decimate their cores, their young up and coming players to go get Kevin Durant and whoever else he decides he wants to bring along with him. And then they underachieve, and then he
move along.
leaves, and they have zero assets. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So I mean, good season by New York. That was really promising.
Yeah.
But Indiana was probably the better option now with the injuries that sidelined the Knicks players. Indiana's going to give Boston the best run with who was left.
How many games is it going to be next round? I
Probably
think,
6.
I think there's a chance it goes 7.
I think 6.
I think it could go 7.
Just because Indiana's that streaky, young, just gas you out.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, their offense just scores points, and
I like Miles Turner.
I don't hate him.
He's a stud defensively. And Obi Toppin's been playing very well too. I don't know. I think they can surprise some people. I think they can make it a series. Ultimately, I'm taking Boston.
Ultimately, I'm taking Boston too.
I think it could go 7. But I don't really want to do any predictions for the next round on the other side because we don't know who the last team's going to be. So,
well, I said Denver, so hopefully it's Denver, and then I find Denver back in the finals again, but they lose.
well, I said it was Minnesota. And I think Minnesota is going to win it all. Which, just a few months ago, Chet kind of laughed when I even entertained the possibility of such thing.
'Tis true.
And now it is a very realistic possibility. So, just
They're on the
interesting.
verge.
Yeah. On the cusp.
On the cusp of it.
Cusp. Is there anything baseball related that needs to be mentioned? I'm not the baseball guy here, folks.
Yeah. You got the Yankees. The Yankees have started to figure it out with their bats. So like, when you got Juan Soto, Aaron Judge,
Juan Soto.
Giancarlo Stanton, and just Anthony Volpe. I mean, Rizzo.
That team just had way too much talent.
It's just they're putting it all together. They're swinging the bat. Like, I haven't watched many of their games this season, but when you look at their record and you look at like the content that comes out, and you see those guys and they're doing what they're doing. So like that's critical, you know. So like they're top of the leaderboard. The Orioles are still up there, you know. Another team that is still surprising are the Royals. The Royals are still like they're second in their division.
Witt.
I know. They're second in their division behind the Guardians, so the Guardians are putting up runs and they're winning baseball games. Like, they've got one of the best closers in the game. So if they do go up, then they're gonna shut the door there. But then, yeah, the Royals have surprised a whole lot of people this year, myself included. But then, yeah, I mean, the Dodgers are taking care of business. Like, I watched a game the other day, and Tyler Glasnow, he was a huge pickup for them, in my opinion. With Shohei not being able to pitch and everything like that, like, to have another arm like Tyler Glasnow, like, that's huge for them, and he's settling in. I've always liked him, tall, lanky, and so that's the Dodgers.
Yeah. I hate the Dodgers so much.
Yeah, I know. Miami's still bad. Colorado's still bad. Not a whole lot to offer there. And then,
is it just like blind faith for me? But is it, or I guess not even blind faith, but like, is it just absolutely ridiculous that I genuinely believe that the Cardinals still could turn this around?
I don't know if they could turn it around and make it. they'd have to win a lot of baseball games.
Yeah.
A lot in a row and only lose. They could only drop one here and there. Like that. That's the only. And I just don't think they have the firepower to do so.
Yeah.
Now they're 6 games below 500 right now, and like that's doable to get back above 500. Like they're second to last in the division right now, with Cincinnati being down there. But the Cardinals need a little more consistency. They have a lot of names that nobody's real familiar with. So like that makes it a little difficult for people to like jump on board. They're not consistently winning games. You know, they'll win a few here, then drop a third one. They'll still win the series, but they've dropped like that last one. They can't necessarily sweep a series. The Brewers just handled business against the Cardinals. Like last week or the week before, they just don't have the consistency that they have had in the past. And the only thing that like brings the fans down, like, is it's still early, you know, they're only 46 games into the season. So, I mean, there's a lot of baseball to be had, and there's a lot of fans that are, oh, you know, I'm not all in on the Cardinals this year. Ticket sales aren't where they want to be. But then again, that does have stuff to do with the front office. It does have injuries take a role in that, but their lineup, when their lineup is posted, there's just a lot of names on that roster that people have just not heard about before.
Yeah. That's fair.
And it's hard to sell tickets when people don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And they're not going to know who they are until they play and prove a point.
Yeah. You know who has been one little bright spot? Mason Wynn.
He's still been providing for them, which is good to see. I think Jordan Walker will be back.
He will.
You know, we all know that he's capable of doing. So he's definitely going to be back. The Cardinals still have to pitch the ball better.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for Tink to get called up.
Yeah, I think there's still some development that needs to happen with him. But, you know, we can say it again. There's the big names that are in the lineup that aren't necessarily having the years that they've had in the past.
How about Paul Skeen's debut?
Legit.
What was it? 6 innings, 11 Ks, no hits.
I don't know his stat line, but it was legit.
Pretty sure it was 6 innings, and I'm pretty sure he struck out 11 and gave up no hits.
Yeah, I just know that I watched his highlight reel from that day, and it was legit. I couldn't tell you final numbers on it.
His last pitch in the 6th inning, he was still hitting 100.
Which is impressive, and hopefully that can stay healthy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the Cardinals, I think they need to get it back above 500, and then if they make a run, you know, like the Cubs, they're battling injuries right now. The Brewers, they're going to continue to win. They got a pretty good lineup still. So I think the Cardinals can be a better than 500 team, but there's still work to be had.
Yeah. That's
so
fair.
I don't think anybody should give up on them yet, you know? Like there are some young guys still in the organization that can turn it around.
Yeah.
But there's room for improvement.
Fair enough.
So I at this point I can't even tell you who like an MVP caliber player is going to be yet, because I haven't. Nobody to me from what I've seen has like stood out above.
I don't feel like we'll really have an idea of that until we're like halfway through.
Yeah, that'll give you more of an idea on like who's leading in home runs, who's leading your batting average.
Yeah.
It'll all settle out, and you'll sift through some guys that had a hot start and can't be consistent with it, and guys that hit for power but not on base percentage. And so, like, yeah, once that gets to be more mid-season, that's when things will probably be a little more clear in that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, still a lot more
baseball?
I'll make my way down to a Cardinal game coming up soon.
I feel
Hopefully,
like I usually try to once a year.
but
so.
I'm not counting them out yet.
No, I don't think you
By
should.
no means. But in other news,
I think it's worth mentioning that we have been on long enough now for the results of Minnesota-Denver, and we have a winner. Minnesota is moving on, and I can say, suck it, Chet.
yeah, that's deserving. Disappointing, but deserving.
I think this next round's going to be interesting, though. It's not going to be a cakewalk for Minnesota. I think Dallas is one of the hottest teams in the NBA right now. They were going into the playoffs, and they've just kind of rode it all the way through. So it's going to be, I think it'll be a tough matchup, but I think Minnesota's going to make it all the way.
In due time.
We shall find out.
In due time. But no, real quick, I know we don't talk about it a whole lot, but like this has been a hot topic of the sports world.
Hot topic of the sports world.
Number one golfer in the world, Scotty
Scheffler getting arrested.
How about it?
That's wild. What, 2 weeks removed from the Masters win? That's
Dude had won like
crazy.
4 of the 5 tournaments and becomes a dad, comes back, plays the first round, eagles the first hole after being a dad.
Mm-hmm.
Very next day, cuffed.
That's insane.
Now, I haven't looked into it a whole lot.
I don't know the scenario.
I do know it was a traffic accident. It was a not so good ending traffic accident that he really didn't have a part of. He was just stuck in it.
Yeah.
Now, that's what I've heard. I haven't dug into it, but it's just definitely been one of those things that you scratch your brain and you're like, okay, I see what his intentions were. Does it really put him above everybody else to be able to go ahead and do that?
Right. No.
Even if he wasn't involved in the traffic stop or what led to the traffic backup.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't know.
So yeah, there's more to go on that. I just didn't know like what you thought when you that headline sprung.
Yeah, I was very shocked. Is it so? Something with golfers and getting arrested. My mind immediately went to drunk driving.
But that wasn't it.
No, that's immediately what I assumed it was. I was like, huh, let me guess, DUI.
Yeah, I saw it and I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a joke at first.
Yeah.
And then there were multiple reports coming out because I was like, "There's no way, dude is just winning, becomes a dad, finally comes back and had a good round and then arrested."
Yeah.
So I mean, it was one of those things. It's like, okay, could it be public intoxication or
Right.
DUI? That
was what I
was
immediately assumed.
The guy seems to be on top of the world right now,
Yeah.
you know, and then. I think it affected his play. I mean, it definitely put him in the spotlight for a different aspect than he's been in the spotlight for months now. It's just, it's so like everybody, when someone sees the number one person in that respective sport get arrested, all eyes.
Yeah. Xander Schauffele played pretty well, though.
Yeah?
But he finished minus 18 or something.
Did he win?
Yeah.
Yeah. He led the majority of it.
Yeah. I always, before I knew who Scotty Scheffler was, I used to get him and Schauffele mixed up all the time because their last names sound fairly similar. So.
But yeah, not
Fun
to get
fact.
off topic there. I know we haven't talked about
It's
it
not
a lot,
off topic, it's
it was
sports.
just, it was just one of those. It was like, welcome to the sports world.
We
Mr.
talk about things that are sports related,
That's right.
which is why we're going to dive into what we're going to dive into next episode, but you guys are going to have to wait to find out.
That's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I got too. So keep watching the NBA playoffs. If you're a baseball fan, keep watching the season.
Stick with some teams. Stick with them.
Keep remembering that NFL is just right around the corner, folks. September will be here before you know it. So,
That ain't no lie.
yeah, I don't think I got anything else. So, I'm Adam.
And I'm out.